I'm really curious about your journey and how you got to this very specific type of work that you do.
Yeah, comes from my own story, like many of us, right? We get involved in meaningful work because of the journey that we've been on. So I'm a kid who grew up in some pretty, intense childhood trauma, and whether it was physical abuse, sexual abuse, verbal, all of it, right? And I grew up in U.S. poverty, went to 17 different schools growing up because my family was always trying to move around to find jobs, and was on the welfare system. And so I adopted this narrative about myself that there was something wrong with me. I love the work of Gabor Mate, who says, trauma is not what happens to us, but what happens in us. And we make decisions from the meaning that we assign to what's happened. And we can make meaning about life, that life's not fair. We can make meaning about and decisions about people, that they can't be trusted, that people are bad or whatever. Or we can make one of the most important decisions. We make a decision about ourselves, and we can make the decision, there's something wrong with me. And that's the decision that I made as a young person, as a little kid, and subconsciously, right? I'm not making that decision consciously at that age. And so that decision and that feeling that there was something wrong with me brought what we would call shame into my life, right? Guilt being I did something wrong, shame being I am something wrong. And so from that sense of shame, I felt like I needed to prove myself. I needed to somehow figure out how to build a life that could bury the way that I felt. So I became a high achiever, went through this entire process of trying to build a construct of a life, went on into philanthropy work and raised over $1 billion to help those who are marginalized. And in all of that, no matter how much I achieved, it never took that feeling away. And I always tell people that the gap between how I have to present myself and the way that I feel about myself, the bigger that gap, the bigger the suffering, right? And so
That's
I have this image management that I have to maintain. And when it's so disconnected from how I authentically feel, suffering shows up. And then I try to medicate that suffering because the achievements are doing it, right? Yeah. And so for me, that medication looked like alcohol.